I trusted my cousin to help care for our elderly grandmother while I worked long hours, but when I visited unexpectedly, I found her alone and neglected. While my cousin used the care money for shopping and vacations, my name's Marcus, I'm 32. And 6 months ago I destroyed my family by trusting the wrong person with the most precious thing we had left. My grandmother Sophia, who raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 8. The woman who worked 3 jobs to put me through college. The one who never missed a single basketball game, even when her arthritis made every step agony. When grandma started showing signs of dementia last year, I was pulling 70-hour weeks at a tech startup. The kind of job that pays well but owns your soul. Stock options, they said. Future millionaire, they promised. I bought into it completely. I told myself I was building something that the sacrifice would be worth it when I could give grandma the best care money could buy. But she needed help now. Not in some hypothetical future when my options vested. Enter my cousin Rachel. Sweet, bubbly Rachel, who posted inspirational quotes on Facebook and always remembered everyone's birthdays. She'd been between jobs for months, living with her parents, talking about going back to school but never quite getting around to it. When she heard about grandma's situation at a family dinner, she practically jumped at the opportunity. Marcus, this is perfect, she said, her eyes lighting up. I need purpose in my life and grandma needs someone. I could move in with her, be there full time. You know how much I love her. It seemed like destiny. Rachel had always been grandma's favorite out of all the cousins. They used to bake together every Sunday before grandpa died. Rachel knew all her stories, all her recipes, all the little things that made her comfortable. The arrangement was simple. I'd pay Rachel $3,000 a month plus cover all of grandma's expenses. Food, medicine, utilities, everything. Rachel would live there rent-free and provide round-the-clock care. She wouldn't have to worry about money. And I wouldn't have to worry about grandma being alone or in some sterile nursing home. This is family taking care of family. My aunt said at the dinner where we finalized everything. The way it should be. Everyone agreed. Everyone smiled. Everyone talked about how lucky we were to have each other. I set up automatic transfers. Rachel sent updates every few days. Pictures of grandma in the garden. Videos of them watching old movies together. Text messages about doctor appointments that went well, new medications that were helping, good days and bad days but always ending with, don't worry, I've got this. I visited when I could, but it was never enough. Maybe once every 2 weeks, sometimes less. Startup life, you know. There was always a deadline, always a crisis, always something that couldn't wait. But Rachel was there. Family was there. That's what mattered. Rachel started looking better. New clothes that fit properly instead of the worn-out jeans she'd been recycling for years. Her hair professionally styled. Her Instagram gradually filled with brunches and spa days, which she said helped her deal with the stress of caregiving. Self-care is healthcare, she'd caption her photos. The motivational quotes kept coming. You can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. I didn't question it. Caregiving is hard. If Rachel needed some retail therapy or a massage now and then, she'd earned it. The updates kept coming. Grandma was doing well, eating properly, taking her medications, even seeming more lucid some days. 3 months in, Rachel mentioned she'd hired a part-time helper. Just a few hours a week so I can run errands and have a little break, she explained. This nice lady from the church, very experienced with seniors. Grandma loves her. It made sense. Nobody could provide 24/7 care without burning out. I increased the monthly payment to $3,500 to cover it. Small price for peace of mind. The red flags were there looking back. Rachel's trips to run errands, that somehow produced Instagram stories from wine bars. The helper who was supposedly there 3 times a week but whom I never met during my visits. The way Rachel always seemed to know exactly when I was coming, even when I tried to surprise them. But I was deep in my startup bubble. We were approaching a funding round. 18-hour days became normal. I started sleeping at the office. Visiting grandma dropped to once a month. The guilt ate at me but I pushed through it. Just a little longer, I told myself. Once we closed this round I'd have more time. Once we hired more developers I could delegate. Once, Rachel's updates became more sporadic but also more elaborate when they came. Long paragraphs about grandma's improvement, about breakthrough moments where she remembered things clearly, about how the new routine was working wonders. Photos always showed grandma clean, well-dressed, smiling. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect maybe, but when you want to believe something badly enough, your brain finds ways to ignore what doesn't fit. The breaking point came 6 months into our arrangement. Rachel posted pictures from Cabo, a full resort vacation with her new boyfriend I didn't even know existed. Blessed to take a much-needed break. Don't worry, everything's covered at home, she wrote. Something about it bothered me. Not the vacation itself, but the timing. She hadn't mentioned needing time off. Hadn't asked if I could cover. Just went. I messaged asking about grandma. The church lady is staying with her, it's all good. Rachel replied with a string of heart emojis. Grandma's sleeping most of the day anyway. The new meds really knocked her out but doctor says it's normal. New meds? Since when? I scrolled back through our messages. No mention of a doctor visit. No mention of medication changes. That's when the worry started. Just a small seed at first. A nagging feeling that something was off. I told myself I was being paranoid. Stressed from work. Projecting my guilt about not visiting enough. Rachel had been nothing but reliable for 6 months. She deserved a vacation. She deserved trust. But the seed grew. I decided to surprise them with a visit. Not because I suspected anything, I told myself, but because I missed grandma. It had been 5 weeks since I'd seen her, the longest gap yet. The startup could survive one afternoon without me. It was a Tuesday 2 p.m. The kind of time when everything should be routine. Lunch finished, maybe some afternoon TV, perhaps a nap. I picked up grandma's favorite flowers from the shop she used to walk to every week before her mind started slipping. White roses with baby's breath. She always said they reminded her of her wedding bouquet. I used my key to let myself in. The house was quiet. Too quiet. No TV murmuring, no radio playing the old jazz standards grandma loved, no sound of Rachel chatting away like she usually did. Grandma, I called out. Rachel. The smell hit me first. Not overwhelming but there. Stale. Like windows hadn't been opened in days. Like something had been left too long. I found her in the living room, sitting in grandpa's old recliner. She was wearing the same house dress I'd seen her in during my last visit. Her hair, usually carefully styled by Rachel, hung limp and unwashed. The TV was off. She was just sitting there staring at nothing. Grandma. I knelt beside her chair. She turned to me slowly and for a moment didn't recognize me. Then her face crumpled. Marcus, is that you? Really you? Her voice was hoarse like she hadn't spoken in days. Yeah, Grandma, it's me. Where's Rachel? She looked confused. Rachel hasn't been here. Not for, I don't know, days, weeks, I can't remember. The lady comes sometimes, brings food, but she doesn't stay long. My stomach dropped. What lady? I don't know her name. She speaks Spanish. Leaves plates in the refrigerator. Sometimes helps me to the bathroom. But, she's always in a hurry. I checked the kitchen. The refrigerator had a few covered plates of food, obviously reheated multiple times. The calendar on the wall still showed 3 months ago. The medication organizer on the counter was empty except for Monday and Tuesday. This was Tuesday afternoon. The medicine cabinet told a worse story. Bottles of pills, most expired, some that didn't even have Grandma's name on them. No organization, no system, just chaos. I called Rachel. No answer. Texted. No response. I spent the next 3 hours discovering the depth of the neglect. Grandma's bedroom sheets hadn't been changed in who knows how long. The bathroom had grab bars that had been installed but were loose, dangerous. Her closet was empty of half her clothes, but Rachel's room was full of shopping bags, designer shoes, expensive makeup, tags still on dresses that cost more than I paid for Grandma's monthly medication. The church lady turned out to be Maria, an undocumented woman Rachel paid $50 to stop by once a day for an hour. Maria was terrified when I called the number I found on a scrap of paper. She thought I was immigration. When I finally convinced her I just wanted to know about Grandma, she broke down crying. I try to help more, she said, but the lady Rachel, she say 1 hour only. I cook, I leave food, I help bathroom. But your grandmother, she need more. She's so confused. She cry sometimes. I want to stay but Rachel say no money for more. For $3 a day, $3.50 a week. It's $400 a month. Out of the $3,500 I was sending, plus the extra I transferred for groceries and supplies. I went through Grandma's mail that had piled up. Credit card statements in Rachel's name but with Grandma's address. Thousands in charges. Restaurants, boutiques, hotels, flights. A paper trail of theft hidden in plain sight. But the worst was finding Grandma's journal. She'd always kept one, even as her memory failed. The entries were scattered, confused, but the pain was clear. Rachel hasn't been home in days, I think. Maybe she was here yesterday. I can't remember. The lady brought food but I can't open the containers. My hands don't work right. I fell in the bathroom. Nobody came, got up eventually. Why doesn't anyone love me anymore? That last line broke me. I sat on Grandma's bedroom floor and sobbed. Not the dignified tears of an but the choking sobs of a child who realizes they failed the one person who never failed them. I called 911 first. Grandma needed medical attention. She was dehydrated, malnourished, had untreated UTIs that had been causing increased confusion. The paramedics were gentle with her but their eyes were hard when they looked at me. How long has she been alone? One asked. I don't know. I admitted. I thought someone was here. I was paying someone to be here. They exchanged glances. I knew what they were thinking. Another family dumping money at a problem instead of actually caring. At the hospital the social worker was kind but direct. This is neglect, she said. We'll have to file a report. Your grandmother can't go home alone. Rachel finally called back that evening, casual, cheerful, like nothing was wrong. Hey Marcus, sorry I was in a movie. What's up? I'm at the hospital with Grandma. Silence. Then, what happened? Is she okay? I just saw her this morning and, stop lying. My voice was calmer than I felt. I know everything, Rachel. The money, Maria, all of it. She tried denying at first, then explaining, then justifying. The words poured out in a desperate stream. She was overwhelmed. Grandma was difficult. She deserved compensation for giving up her life. I didn't understand how hard it was. She was going to pay it back. She was planning to hire better help. She was. She has bed sores, Rachel. Bed sores. From sitting in the same position for days. That's not, Maria was supposed to. Maria was there 1 hour a day. 1 hour. While you were spending thousands on yourself. I needed breaks. You have no idea what it's like. The way she looks at me sometimes like she doesn't know me. The same questions over and over. The crying at night. The accidents. You weren't there. You don't know. She was right about one thing. I wasn't there. I'd chosen stock options over visits, deadline over dinner, networking events over family nights. I'd thrown money at my guilt and called it love. The family meeting was brutal. Rachel's parents defended her at first. Their daughter would never. There must be a misunderstanding. Marcus was exaggerating, but the evidence was overwhelming. Bank statements, the journal, Maria's testimony, the hospital report. Rachel's mother broke first. How could you? She whispered to her daughter. Your own grandmother. How could you? Rachel cried. Promised to pay it back. Swore she never meant for it to go so far. But the damage was done. The family split into factions. Those who blamed Rachel entirely. Those who blamed me for not supervising better. Those who blamed themselves for not visiting more. Grandma came home after a week in the hospital, but not to her house. We moved her to a memory care facility. A nice one, the kind I should have considered from the beginning instead of trying to have it both ways. Professional staff, structured activities, proper medical supervision. She didn't understand why she couldn't go home. Every visit, she asked when Rachel was coming to take her home. The dementia had progressed during those months of neglect. The confusion that might have been manageable with proper care had deepened into something irreversible. I quit the startup. Walked away from unvested options worth potentially millions. My CEO called me short-sighted. My colleagues thought I'd lost my mind, but I couldn't stomach another 18-hour day chasing hypothetical wealth while real life crumbled around me. Rachel faced charges for elder and her lawyer negotiated it down to probation and restitution. She was supposed to pay back a 30,000. I've seen 500 so far. She posts on social media about her struggles, how the family turned against her, how nobody understands what she went through. The inspirational quotes keep coming. Sometimes you have to walk through the fire to become who you're meant to be. The extended family never recovered. Accusations flew. Aunt Carol said she'd warned me about Rachel. Uncle Tony said I should have known better than to trust money to someone with no job history. Cousin Patricia said we should have all stepped up more. The holiday dinner stopped. The group chat went silent. 20 years of family unity destroyed in 6 months. But the worst punishment is Grandma's face when I visit. Sometimes she knows me. Sometimes she doesn't. But there's a wariness now that wasn't there before. A flinch when someone moves too fast. A hoarding of food in her room because she's not sure when the next meal will come. The staff tells me she's doing well. adjusting, that the confusion is just the disease progression. But I know better. We broke something in her during those months. A fundamental trust that people who say they love you will take care of you. Last week, during a lucid moment, she grabbed my hand. Marcus, she said clearly. Why did you leave me alone? I couldn't answer, because the truth was too simple and too horrible. I'd prioritized everything else. Work, money, my career, my future. Everything except the present moment where an old woman who'd raised me needed more than money. She needed presence, time, attention, love demonstrated through showing up. I'm sorry, Grandma. I'm so sorry. She patted my hand. It's okay. I know you're busy. Important things to do. Even in her confusion, she was still protecting me from my own guilt. Still being the grandmother who made excuses for my failures. Still loving me more than I'd loved her. The social worker had warned me during our last meeting at the hospital. Elder often happens not from malice but from absence, she'd said. When families think they can substitute money for time, delegation for devotion. She was being kind. What happened to Grandma wasn't just Rachel's crime, it was mine too. I'd been the absent grandson who thought writing checks was the same as being present. Who convinced himself that quality care could be purchased rather than provided. Rachel stole money. I stole time. Months of time when Grandma was still cognizant enough to enjoy visits. When her memories were still accessible. When a consistent routine might have slowed the progression. When she could have lived in her own home with real support instead of being warehoused in even the nicest facility. The startup I left went public last month. My abandoned options would have been worth $2.3 million. Everyone says I'm crazy for walking away. But what they don't understand is that I'd already spent that money. Spent it in missed Sunday dinners. In rushed 15-minute visits. In phone calls I didn't make because I was in another meeting about another feature that another focus group might want. The money was never mine anyway. It was the price of Grandma's loneliness. The cost of her confusion. The value placed on her abandonment. I visit her every day now. Sometimes twice. I read to her. Play her favorite music. Bring those white roses with baby's breath. The staff says I don't need to come so often. That she won't remember. That I'm torturing myself. But I know the truth. I'm not there for her anymore. She's beyond needing my presence in any way that matters. I'm there for me. To face what I did. To see the consequence of choosing career over care. To understand that some debts can never be repaid, only carried. The other residents' families know me now. The son who comes every day. They think I'm devoted. One woman told me she wishes her children were more like me. I wanted to laugh. Or cry. Or tell her the truth. That I'm not devoted. I'm haunted. Haunted by the 6 months when Grandma sat alone in that chair. Wondering why nobody loved her anymore. Haunted by every, I'm too busy. And Rachel's got it covered. And just one more month of this project. Haunted by the grandmother who raised me after tragedy, only to be abandoned when she needed raising herself. The inspirational quotes Rachel posts make me sick, but there's one she shared recently that hit different. You can't change the past, but you can change the story you tell yourself about it. She's wrong. Some stories can't be rewritten. Some truths are carved too deep. The story is simple. I had one job, to take care of the woman who took care of me, and I paid someone else to not do it. I substituted money for love and called it practical. I chose options over obligation and called it building a future. Tomorrow marks 8 months since I found Grandma in that chair. 8 months of daily visits that don't undo 8 minutes of her sitting alone, confused, afraid. The doctors say she might have another year, maybe 2 years she'll spend in professional care because family care failed her. Because I failed her. My therapist says I need to forgive myself. That guilt serves no purpose. That I was doing my best with the information I had. But she doesn't understand. Some guilt is meant to be carried. Some failures are meant to scar. Some lessons come too late to matter but still need to be learned. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. again because sleep means dreams and dreams mean seeing Grandma the way she used to be. Strong, clear. Teaching me to tie my shoes after my parents died. Making me lunch for school every day with notes that said, love you to the moon. Dancing in the kitchen to Nat King Cole while dinner cooked. That woman is gone. Not just because of dementia, but because for 6 crucial months, when she needed us most, we weren't there. Rachel took her money. I took her time. The family took her for granted. We all took something, and now there's nothing left to give back to. The worst part. If you asked me 6 months ago if I loved my grandmother, I would have said, more than anything. I would have pointed to the money I was spending on her care, the sacrifice I was making working long hours to afford it, the arrangement I'd made to keep her in her home. I would have been so confident in my love, so sure of my devotion, so blind to the truth that love isn't what you pay for. It's who shows up when showing up is all that's left.